Thank you, weather! Hello and welcome to the third and final part of my mission to collect sounds from the island of Bryher to turn into music. I only have 4 days left here, though effectively 3 if you discount the day of departure. But there is one small problem, and that is that I've slightly exhausted my arsenal of ideas, and I'm not entirely sure where to go next. I've got heaps upon heaps of field recordings of birdsong and wave sounds, and way more percussion than I could ever really need. But as I've said before, one of my problems has been finding melodic sounds, because even though I am going to be adding like a couple of things from recordings made at home after this whole holiday, I would like to find some sounds from the island that have some kind of melodic quality to add to the music. Which I did do to some extent, but as I've mentioned before, I did eventually realise that I was slightly overshooting with my ambitions to make some kind of grand sound collage that didn't sound like it came from field recordings. So I did make the move to making conventional instruments the melodic centre of the music, but my recordings from the island are still always very much there, at least for texture and percussion. I guess I'll just have to find creativity in the face of adversity and have a bit of a wander and just see what I can find. So today is likely to be largely me looking around for various materials and trying to think of ideas of something I can turn into some kind of DIY instrument. So whether I'm successful in that or not, I do not know, but I hope you enjoy anyway. Slightly annoying because in retrospect I probably would have been able to pack a kalimba or a whistle or perhaps even a violin to bring and record on the island, but I imagine that's more of an intellectual, slightly pedantic difference than one that is actually audible and will affect people's enjoyment, so no point beating myself up about that. Tide is actually so far out that I can walk to Hangman Island there. I could, but it would mean getting very wet feet, clambering over some slippery seaweed and probably getting dive bombed by seagulls, so maybe not today. How did I not notice this before? There are actually anemones everywhere. And some pretty cool acoustics too. I know I said I was looking for melodic sounds, but I cannot resist getting some trippy organic reverb, so let's see what we can do. What do you want? May have been rudely interrupted by a gang of seagulls, but that was actually really cool. I don't know if you can hear, but everything sounds so much louder in there. Like if I slowly walk into here, you can hear. It's so weird. I'll bear that in mind and probably come back with other things to make sounds with. Plus, if anyone knows what this thing actually is, then do let me know in the comments. And like I said, there's like an entire ecosystem going on in here. Wait, just one more. Nice. Might as well try and capture this absolute cacophony of birds as well. Annoyingly, I got the idea of recording the limpet shell chimes in that metal structure just as I got back to the tent, so I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow when the tide's low again. But for now, I think I'm gonna pause my currently futile beachcombing mission, because I noticed a place on the map of the island that's just north of Popplestones, where the rest of my family are, that is marked the Cave, and I think I'd like to go and investigate. I do think it would be quite easy to literally just electronically manipulate any sound I find and turn it into something completely new, but I feel like that would go against the whole point of the way that I'm doing this project, which is to give it a completely organic feel and make it feel like if all of nature on this island came together and made an orchestra, which is why I'll probably barely do anything to my recordings other than maybe a bit of reverb and delay and chopping up here and there. I know I won't shut up about the weather, but it is absolutely insane that we keep getting biblical rain showers and then this. It's just like a completely different climate to the mainland. Although I will say to anyone coming here that it is absolutely not always this turbulent. Evidently I have a little bit too much time on my hands, but I hope any unsuspecting visitors enjoy my art installation. So we've been on the beach since lunch and it's actually now 5:20, so unfortunately I think I am going to have to call off this trip to the cave, whatever it is. It might not have been accessible anyway. Just one of those cool acoustics. Found what sounds like some sort of running pipe that I guess would serve as a good backdrop for something. This evening ended up as one of my favourite memories from Bryher overall, and by no coincidence was turned into probably one of my favourite pieces that I've ever made, Sunburst at Popplestones, the title of which is a kind of subtle nod to the Thomas Dolby track Cloudburst at Shingle Street. It's basically the finale of the album before a short little outro, and is mostly ambient, focused around guitar and cello and vocals. I had the idea of making it gradually transition into this kind of discordant build-up, which leads into probably one of the most difficult to make passages of music that I've ever done, where I brought in all sorts of different instruments and different vocalists along with me to make this one enormous chord, which I imagined like rays of sunlight hitting the water. Very pleased with the way it all turned out. I don't know if the videos fully captured it, but that sunset last night was spectacular. I did actually want to get like the sunset fading into the sunrise. I was thinking about finally getting up early enough this morning, but spent a little bit too long toasting marshmallows and would have been absolutely shattered had I got that little sleep. So maybe tomorrow, which is sadly going to be our last full day on this island, so better get cracking with the finishing touches I want to add to this project. So what I'm going to do first today is, as I said I would yesterday, go back to that funny metal structure and do another recording of my limpet shell chimes before the tide comes back and swallows it up. Healthy clapper! As you could see, the Limpet chimes were kind of tangled up and falling apart in my bag, but I still think that made for a pretty cool recording. Because I have so many kind of like minimal atmospheres I've recorded, I'll probably end up layering quite a lot of them on top of each other. Maybe not quite ambient music all throughout, but I think I'm aiming for something quite tranquil and very organic, like I said, just like Bryher itself. It's almost impossible to believe that the water was actually touching the edge of the quay there when we were going quay jumping, and I would be deep underwater right now. Moral of the story, singing is not at its easiest when you're lying with your chest in the sand trying to sing into a long, rusty metal tube washed up from the ocean. Now that is not something you see every day. I could get in my swimming trunks, put the underwater stuff on, and actually try and film under there, because there might be some creatures lurking around. It's like in that big metal thing on Kitchen Porth, it's like an entire ecosystem that just springs into being when there's an opportunity. Looking to be a day of fancy natural acoustics today, because I could get some pretty cool delay effects if I mic close to that wall. I'm thinking I put the microphone in somewhere in the middle and then do a series of claps where I get gradually further backwards, and then the delay between the two different sounds will get gradually longer and longer. No longer got a microphone stand in working order, but I have got hands and another person to do the clapping for me. To passers-by, that probably would have appeared like a passive-aggressive slow clap, but it's a pretty good recording. What I'm going to do next actually is record something very atmospheric, which is just this sound I've noticed over here. Something clanging against the masts of the ships. Got one on my left and one on my right, so that should make a good stereo effect. For once, wind is useful to me. Like I was saying before, wouldn't be the greatest moment to choose for another quay jump, would it? Even if I leapt into that pool with some kind of superhuman jumping skills, I'd probably still come out with a sprained ankle. Turning out to be one of my best days for samples yet, which is cheering me up a bit after waking up to finding that my Instagram account had been hacked and DM'd a spam message to everyone from my close friends to 808 State Official. I almost died of cringe. Dad would like to get a recording of footsteps in the squishy sand over there, and I'm not entirely sure where I'd put that to use in musical context, but let's do it anyway. So I finally made the effort of dragging my ass up here at 5 in the morning to watch the sunrise, but there's one small problem, and that is that, you can't really see the sun. There is undeniably, though, a magic about this time of morning on Bryher, so I think I'll just go for a walk around the island anyway. So as I said, today is sadly our final full day on Bryher this year, tomorrow being our day of departure, meaning that it's pretty much my final opportunity to get this project feeling like as complete as it can possibly be, which is likely what I'm going to do today: explore all the places I haven't explored, record all the sounds I haven't recorded, fully encapsulate the sounds of the island for my new musical experience. My sister and her boyfriend are going to the Tresco Abbey Gardens. I'm not really fussed that I'm not going because I've been quite a few times before and I know I won't be able to stop pointing my camera and my microphone at different places. Plus it allows me a final day with lots of time to myself on Bryher, the focus of this whole project. Now I guess I must kick back and await the opening of the Hell Bay Hotel for coffees in only 4.5 hours. I mean, humans are technically supposed to sleep, but Of course, after 10 days of doing this, I'm slightly left thinking, what is there to do that I haven't done yet? But I guess I've just got to fully engage my creative brain for this last day. Or just take the Solonian walk of a lifetime and let inspiration come to me. I do actually love this little atmosphere here. I can't imagine doing a cruise or a day trip here. Like, how could you leave that quickly when you're here? Something about this place just pulls you in and you don't want to go. I think perhaps I can create some really interesting atmospheres by like layering a lot of these soundscapes I've recorded on top of each other. Like 2 wave recordings and 2 birdsong recordings might make for a really kind of lush atmosphere. So I think perhaps at this late stage I should stop trying so hard to find like conventional melodic or percussive sounds and instead maybe just keep on capturing this atmosphere of this island the best I can, the most beautiful soundscapes I can find, because that really is what this is all about. Capturing the gorgeous song of Bryher. Just saw a pheasant move into that bush and I'm really annoyed that I didn't catch it. Not literally catch it, you know what I mean. Coming to Popplestones now, and the water actually sounds pretty wild out there. Normally quite calm in the mornings in my experiences, but perhaps not today. Yeah, that definitely looks like pretty high tide. I might actually venture out onto that hill over there where I haven't been yet. It has a name that I've forgotten on screen. Might capture some of the big crashing waves over there and see if there are any interesting bits of birdsong as well. Well, this is interesting. I would like to record those waves there, but I am, in fact, a rather clumsy 14-year-old out on my own at 7:30 in the morning, and it probably would not be the greatest idea I've ever had. This landscape, though, is absolutely stunning. Okay, enough Morgenspaziergang. I think I need some Cheerios. I know I'm getting distracted, but think I need to see what's going on here. So this is Richard Pierce's art studio, which is open to the public, but can you think of a better place to have a studio? I would give absolutely anything to record my albums here. And now it's a clear blue sky. Bastard! It would have been quite an experience to properly see a Solonian sunrise, but at least we got to see that spectacular sunset I filmed the other day. Plus I had a brilliant morning anyway, one which I think has earned me a coffee. Definitely haven't already had one yet. Heh. There's the album cover. I'd like to finish this whole thing off with a little story, I guess, of basically what happened yesterday evening, because I'm aware that the whole thing just like pretty suddenly cut off without much conclusion. Basically, I reached a kind of... It was strange. Like, my 5 AM start inevitably caught up with me eventually, but just reached this kind of sudden, like, complete mental and physical exhaustion, and I was feeling very strange. And we went up Watch Hill again to see the sunset, and I realised that all of our devices were completely out of charge because all of the charging lockers were taken up. And seeing this sun just gradually going down, this absolutely beautiful sunset that will be the perfect symbol for the end of the entire project, without the ability to capture it was pretty difficult, until I realised that I had left my other charged GoPro battery in the tent and absolutely sprinted all the way down, even though I had basically no energy at all left inside of me. Ended up getting back up to the top of the hill and putting it in the camera just as the sun was sinking down, only to see the message that my storage was full. Which is pretty comedic. Driving myself to the point of complete mental and physical exhaustion for the sake of a project while I'm on holiday is probably the most me thing ever, and in a way the opposite of what a holiday is actually supposed to be about. But I guess they're also about making memories and having stories to tell, and what a story I'll have to tell through these videos and through the music. I've had such an incredible time on this beautiful island, and I hope I can capture some of that beauty for you. And I hope too that you've enjoyed these videos and will enjoy the EP. Thank you very much for watching.